What if one of the worst wars in the world today barely makes global headlines? That's Sudan, a country torn apart by a conflict so vast it resembles a silent world war. Over 150,000 people may have died, and more than 12 to 14 million have been displaced since April 2023. That's nearly a quarter of Sudan's population forced from their homes. Sudan has become a battlefield not just for Sudanese factions, but for powerful foreign states. Among them, the United Arab Emirates, UAE, and Egypt are key players. So, what exactly is happening, and why are these countries fighting a shadow war in Africa? You might know the UAE for Dubai, tourism, and influencers. But in the geopolitical world, it is often called Little Sparta. The UAE is the world's second largest gold exporter, yet the UAE has no domestic gold mines. So where does the gold come from? Sudan. Despite its small size, the UAE has the 29th largest economy in the world, with a total GDP of around $570 billion. It consistently ranks within the top 6 to 10 globally in GDP per capita, making it one of the richest countries in the world. Oil remains the primary contributor, accounting for about 25% of GDP. The UAE holds the 6th largest proven oil reserves, estimated at 113 billion barrels, worth roughly $9 trillion. At current production levels of 3.38 million barrels per day, these reserves could last around 91 years. However, the UAE is steadily restructuring its economy to reduce dependence on oil and diversify long-term growth. Gold now plays a central role in that strategy. UAE gold exports are worth around $58 billion annually, accounting for roughly 11% of GDP. Much of this gold is mined in Sudan, often by RSF-linked UAE-backed militias, then smuggled or exported to the UAE. In Dubai, it is refined to remove its conflict origin and sold globally as investment-grade bullion. As a result, gold has become the second largest contributor to the UAE economy after oil, aligning with the government's goal of raising the non-oil share of GDP to 80% by 2031. The UAE has an economy that is hungry, almost starving, for two things: gold and ports. The UAE is not just trying to become richer by acquiring gold, it also wants to be the logistics superpower of the world. It seeks to control the Red Sea, the Horn of Africa, and every major trade route connecting East and West. To achieve this, it needs friendly governments or even puppet regimes along the coast. So let's look at the battlefield. Sudan is rich in gold, and the UAE is hungry for it. Sudan's war began in April 2023 when a feud between the Sudanese Armed Forces, SAF, and the powerful Rapid Support Forces, RSF, erupted into a full-scale civil war. Initially, the world dismissed it as a simple power struggle, a fistfight between two generals unwilling to share the throne. That interpretation no longer holds. This is no longer just Sudanese killing Sudanese. Sudan has become a battlefield where major Middle Eastern powers are settling their rivalries. On one side is the Sudanese Armed Forces, SAF, the internationally recognized government. They are backed by Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and, ironically, Iran, each pursuing its own strategic interests. On the other side are the Rapid Support Forces, RSF, the rebel faction. They are heavily supported by the United Arab Emirates and Russian mercenaries, including Wagner and its successor formations under the Africa Corps. The result is a deeply tangled conflict, Iranian drones defending the same army supported by Egypt, while the UAE funnels weapons to the rebels through Chad. Sudan's civil war has evolved into a proxy war, chaotic, internationalized, and increasingly difficult to contain. Egypt backs the Sudanese Armed Forces, SAF, because it fears that an RSF victory would trigger a massive refugee influx into Egypt and give Ethiopia greater leverage over the Nile. For Cairo, Sudan is not just a neighboring state. Its stability directly affects Nile water security, border control, and Egypt's strategic depth. A friendly government in Khartoum is therefore seen as essential to Egypt's national security. Iran also supports the Sudanese armed forces. Tehran has reportedly supplied Mohajer combat drones to the army, hoping to secure strategic concessions in return, most notably access to or the establishment of a naval presence on the Red Sea. On the other hand, the United Arab Emirates, UAE, supports the rebel Rapid Support Forces, RSF. For the UAE, influence in Sudan is strategically important. Access to Red Sea countries, transport corridors, and ports directly impacts global trade. Sudan's mineral wealth, particularly gold, is also economically attractive. The UAE funds the RSF, the militia responsible for burning down parts of Khartoum. Gold mined in RSF-controlled areas is often smuggled to neighboring countries like Chad or Uganda, or flown directly to Dubai on private charters, where it is declared as scrap gold to bypass taxes and origin checks. The proceeds from this trade are then used to purchase weapons. Despite the ongoing war, gold smuggling to the UAE has reportedly increased by up to 70% compared to the previous year. Historically, the UAE and Saudi Arabia were close allies, but Sudan has driven a wedge between them. Saudi Arabia, under Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, prioritizes stability to protect its own Red Sea mega-projects, such as NEOM, and is reportedly backing the Sudanese Armed Forces, SAF, to restore order. The UAE, in contrast, is doubling down on the RSF to safeguard its own interests. A new development as of January 2026 is that Saudi Arabia has begun attempting to buy Sudanese gold directly, aiming to cut off the UAE and adding an economic dimension to this proxy conflict. While Russia plays both sides, their mercenaries have historically helped the RSF smuggle gold out of Darfur. Due to massive foreign intervention, the conflict in Sudan is no longer purely internal. It has become a proxy war between regional powers pursuing competing agendas. While the billionaires play chess, Sudan is dying. The death toll estimates are terrifying. Over 150,000 people have died, and 13 million have been displaced, marking the largest displacement crisis on the planet. Famine is spreading across the country as the very agricultural belts the UAE once sought to invest in have become active battlefields. Sudan is just one part of a broader UAE strategy across Africa. Between 2019 and 2023 alone, the UAE invested $110 billion into the African continent. This makes it the fourth largest investor in Africa, beating out many Western powers. It is buying ports in Tanzania, Somalia, and Angola. But the crown jewel was supposed to be Sudan. Before the war exploded, the UAE signed a massive $6 billion deal to build a new port and economic zone on Sudan's Red Sea coast. It wanted a commercial empire. But to secure it, it needed a leader who would play ball. Emirati investments in ports, mines, energy infrastructure, and security partnerships have expanded rapidly. Some analysts estimate UAE FDI stock in Africa surpassed $60 billion, outpacing even China in some sectors. The war in Sudan isn't just about local generals fighting for power. It is a symptom of a new world order. It shows us a rising superpower, the UAE, using its $110 billion war chest and gold trade dominance to carve out an empire, even if it means clashing with its oldest allies.